Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors here at Trillium. I got myself a new phone recently. It's the BlackBerry Priv. My Q5 crapped out on me, and I got this BlackBerry Priv. And the frustrating thing about the BlackBerry Priv is that it uses Android, and I'm not familiar with Android as an operating system. And all of a sudden, I'm helpless with my smartphone. There's so many things I can't do with it. I don't even know how to answer a phone call at first. I can't even swipe a phone call in. And it's so frustrating. I don't know where things are stored. I don't know how to turn off notifications, turn them on. It's just an annoying thing. And I so much in that moment wish I'd bought myself a Q5. Just gone back to what I already knew and have it all being done with. I wouldn't have to adjust or adapt myself to this new reality. I wouldn't have any new learning to do. It would all be nice and comfortable. And there's so much change going on in life. We're almost overwhelmed by the kind of changes going on. No operating system, for instance, ever seems to live more than a year or two, and you're bouncing off to something new. And it's all this learning and adapting that seems to be relentless to us that I think exhausts people sometimes. So I've made a new rule for myself. I'm not going to acknowledge any new change in my life. I'm not going to participate in it. I'm not even going to acknowledge it out there in the world either. The only problem is I got this new pain in my back. I don't know what to do with it. I think we'd agree that life is relentless. The change is relentless. And there's not much we can do to stop it. So it seems to me the critical thing in life is to learn how to adapt ourselves and learn how to be able to transition through change so that we can make the new normal as quickly as possible. And I think of people in my congregation here who have been married 50 years, and then they're struggling with the death of their spouse. This couple has grown up together, essentially. They've grown through their whole adult life together, and now one of them is waking up by themselves and having to do everything that they used to share as a team. Whether it's shoveling the driveway or cooking meals or doing the laundry or organizing repairs in the house. Everything that was shared is now being done by one, and that person needs to learn new skills, let alone come to terms with their identity now as a single person. I mean, where do they fit in anymore? Wow, that's a huge change to go through. How do you ever get to a new normal in that? There's a story in the Bible about Israel living in Egypt. They're slaves in Egypt. And then Moses comes to them and he has this vision of a promised land that God has for them. And they follow him out of Egypt into the Sinai, into the wilderness, the desert, where they sort of hang out for a while. And they're stuck in this precarious world. See, they understood Egypt. As bad as it was, they understood the predictability of Egypt. They got Egypt. Now in the desert, with its own rules, they don't seem to be able to make heads or tail of what's going on. And this anxiety begins to build up inside of them. And then they get this vision of the promised land, and it's not what Moses originally told them it was going to be. It's going to be a really hard place, and they're going to have to grow in new ways and step up their game, in a sense, to be able to enter to this promised land. And they flinch away. They just want to go back home again to what they already know. They want to go back to Egypt, as bad as it was. Some change in life, I suppose you can escape and go backwards, and some you can't. But in any event, I think all of us want to be able to keep moving forward in life and be able to prosper in the new realities we find ourselves in. I mean, lots of change comes to us that we have no control over, but we still have a say about how we move through it. Whether you move across country or whether you start a new relationship or end one, whether you get a new boss at work, everything requires us to come to terms with the new truths that we're dealing with. I'm so glad I didn't go back in the end to another Q5. I'm glad I didn't flinch back to what I already knew. I'm glad I stayed with the Priv and suffered through it and ultimately learned how to use it, because it's opened up a whole new vista of opportunities for me. And I've come to realize that if I just stay present to the change and give myself a chance and just hang in there, that something good's going to come out of it. And I will find that in the midst of the change, I will get to the new normal.